Dear Diary, today I played The Witcher Assassin of Hitboxes. What?! Despite high and mighty reviews, for me it was a disaster. Now, the storytelling was fine, it was okay, I found it enjoyable. I would say it was on the same level as in the first Witcher, but with better graphics and character design. We even have the same chunk of meat main antagonist. I hope it's not writer's childhood trauma. What drags it all down is god-awful, soulless gameplay. First off, we have completely broken combat system. People from CD Projekt appear to be lovers and not fighters. It's just their speciality, I guess, because second game in a row they just can't get fighting right, but for different reasons. In the first game it was simple, with little interaction to be had. You just pick a stance and click about every second when the game tells you to, but at least it worked as intended. Now they go for action-packed slasher with light attacks, strong attacks, roll I guess from Demon's Souls because Dark Souls has not came out yet, and counter-attacks. Guess what? Nothing fucking works. You are getting hit when enemies' weapons do not even connect with your body. So throughout the game you have to learn to dodge invisible weapons. And it's not just one rare instance or little malfunction that happens. You have to deal with this shit every single battle. It gets more ridiculous with bigger enemies because of how apparent it becomes. I hear some people complain about the role, that it's not fit for a Witcher's fighting style, that his fight should appear more like a dance, like a gracious butterfly flying in the wind, doing pirouettes and so on. And I agree it would look better, but let's be real here, it's not the main problem. When the role is the only way to actively dodge, and it doesn't function properly, you might get a little bit frustrated, just a tiny bit. Not because of aesthetic preferences, okay? And I know you can upgrade it, which will make your role further. It might be one of the essential upgrades you should get, but it doesn't solve the problem itself. You'll still get gangbanged by invisible punches and blades once you're in close quarters. And if only it was just hitboxes, oh no. Homing animation that will follow you wherever you go.
Target acquired.
Okay. Charging enemies that hit you before reaching you. Geralt starts spinning like a mixer when you just want to do one attack. Or sometimes he just decides to swing an empty space. Sometimes your strikes just go through the enemy without hitting them. Or vice versa, when enemies' punches go right through you. No way to tell when enemies are blocking. Oh, a free backstab? Don't mind if I... Psych! To use a counter-attack you need to stand still like a stone statue, wait for enemies to strike. Just to be stuck in random animation while other enemies are hacking you to pieces. Ah yes, one of the most popular complaints everyone has. When buttons for spells stop working in the middle of the battle, just stop responding for 3-4 seconds. Imagine how that feels. Speaking of magic, everyone's favorite Saint Quen, which we will be using all the time if you're playing on the hardest difficulty, absorbs one strike and while doing so makes no sound or any kind of cue. On top of that, it doesn't disappear instantly. Visually you still have shield around Geralt for a few seconds, so the only way to tell you don't have it anymore is constantly checking the top of your screen. Who thought it was okay to release the game in such a poor state? Did anyone even play it? I've been pushing and pushing this damaged mess of a gameplay just for the sake of storytelling, and it was so draining that at multiple times I just had to switch to play something else. And they even added arena mode, where you can only experience this wretched sad fighting. And I think the only thing that kept me from dropping it down completely like I did the first time was the reason that I knew that I will be playing The Witcher 3 next. And it's kind of depressing. Hey Eskil. What? Could you please introduce us Alchemy?
To be honest, I don't care for all these powders, mushrooms, and other trash.
Alchemy was created by a bunch of Eskils, because I have to assume that people who worked on it really hated the concept and for the life of them couldn't understand why some people could possibly have fun and enjoy mixing herbs and creating potions. But it's an essential part of a Witcher, so we have to include it. But let's make it really simple and so ineffective that nobody would want to use it. Now look at this toxicity meter. It basically fills up every time you drink a potion. See those little lines over here, like little thresholds? Try to guess what they indicate. I even can help you with options. A. Geralt's appearance changes and you start to hear heavy heartbeat. B. It reduces regeneration of health. And C. It reduces Geralt's damage. Now pick what you want. I won't look, I will turn around. Just choose what you feel is right. If you chose A, then you are wrong, because they mean absolutely nothing. This whole meter exists now only to limit how much potions you can drink at once. Fuck the cool effects we had before. Fuck the constant fear that you could accidentally overdose and kill yourself. No, we don't want that. We want you to have oil that increases your damage by 10%. It doesn't even worth time to open your inventory and apply this piece of crap, except for a placebo effect if you have good enough imagination. The best specialized oils don't even come close to what's been in the first Witcher, and it wears off so quickly, both potions and oils, that oftentimes it happens in the middle of the cutscene or in the middle of the dialogue, right before the battle. And when oils you can apply whenever, potions you can only drink outside of battle. Our incredibly shy Witcher Geralt really needs to find a secluded place where he can sit on his knees and show us an animation where he's cracking his neck 1,000 times over. The problem with this system that you never know when you will be sucked into a dialogue and at what point you need to sit down and apply or reapply potions and what enemies you will be fighting. I don't think the single quest was designed with this preparation mechanic in mind. It feels more like they added it in later, like last minute decision or something. And check this potion out. It increases percentage of your armor as you drink it. How do you explain that? What, Geralt's body starts to spread vapors and fortify the armor that he's wearing? Or is he secretly spilling it all over his clothes while nobody is looking? I guess we will never know. Cat potions. Oh my god. They supposed to help you to see better in darkness and see enemies through walls, but make your vision black and white. Because they think cats don't see color, which is not exactly true, and it's supposed to represent their vision, but it ends up hurting your vision in a different way, where you can barely distinguish anything around you. And when in the first game I willingly crafted and happily applied it, here I used it only when absolutely necessary, and in some stealth missions, which are absolutely atrocious as well. And just look at this tab where you craft potions. It's just a dump of text, with no sorting on oils, bombs, with no icons, and with needlessly repeating word formula everywhere. And crafting, of course, just as lazy and bad, but with more glitches and not responding buttons. I really don't see a reason why Geralt should run around with rolls of cloth or tanned leather, barging in into people's houses or in storage and just steal everything like a madman. It completely doesn't fit. He should slay monsters, get paid, and buy what the fuck he wants, not be this loaded mule, especially in such a short game. It's like they thought, oh, all good RPGs have crafting system, we should have one too, because we want to look like good RPG as well. Oh, how I hate that. And I did my share of crafting. I crafted every unique set on dark difficulty, and in the process I actually figured out that it's cheaper to buy materials from vendors than to actually craft them yourself, which is so dumb. Okay, let's talk about the world. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant levels. Remember my comparison in the first Witcher, where I felt like I jumped out of a shit pipe into the freedom when leaving Prologue? Here, I never felt that way. After Prologue, you just jump into a bigger pipe system. There is tunnel upon tunnel, and everything is blocked by doors, by those rocks you have to climb, that only exist as triggers for loading. And you can't help yourself but think about it because of how artificial it all looks. If somebody took and drew a real map of something as open as the forest, for example, it would look like a fucking anthill somehow. It's really amazing. You have to put a real effort into this, have a talent for that kind of thing. Oh, I don't know, we had to port this on Xbox somehow, but we have boobies, don't you like boobies? And that's where devil lies. Making it console friendly, they drastically limit themselves at every corner. And it's not like you can't do it properly, you can port things on a console and still have a good game. But it felt more like they wasted so much energy on technical aspects and restrictions they had, that in the end they had no time or energy left for actual gameplay and fun elements. And in retrospective, it really feels like their learning project where they figure out what they can do with this new engine before they create a real Witcher. And believe me or not, there are some little elements of gameplay that I liked. The stat of armor, for example. The damage reduction is absolute. It's a number that just subtracts from damage you're receiving, and sometimes you can fully absorb damage, which is the thing that happens in real life, so it feels really natural here. Though on dark difficulty it happens quite rarely, and you can add all sorts of things like division on slashes, bludgeoning and pokes, but nevertheless it was satisfying start to build, and it's a step in the right direction, I think. Abilities is another thing I liked. It's basically a permanent bonuses you can get by executing some specific action. For example, if in Prologue you find Assassin's Creed Easter egg, you will get a bonus to backstab damage. Or there is a hidden shrine you can find deep in the forest, far away from main area, which will forever change an appearance of Quen sign from blue to orange, and it will occasionally ignite people. And there are a bunch of those like that, and they work like little secret practical achievements, which I find neat. And what else? I guess Erdenstein now is useful, and unfortunately that's about it. As I said before, the story was fine, it was the only thing that brought at least some enjoyment to my playthrough. Of course there are dumb moments here and there, but they have a good sense of humor, mainly Geralt being a sus lord.
Spit it out.
Know what Flotsam's famous for?
Nothing.
Or when somebody delivers quite out there metaphors.
The beast nearly pulled him in the water while you stood staring like a calf at a shit-coloured clover.
What's your word?
Who's that?
Tidy Tib. The bastard eats honey straight from the hive, drinks before, and some say you can hang a bucket full of water from his cock.
Bucket full of water from his cock.
There is a bunch challenging quests, mostly side ones, that do not cradle you like a baby and require from you to use your brain. And I really respect them for hard branching of Chapter 2, where you can play in two different ways depending on the choice you made in the first one. That's not what many game companies would do, because, well, you cut down a big chunk of content for people who won't be replaying the game. And I would gladly play it a second time if core mechanics weren't so nightmarish and unbearable. I think it's a great example when good, well-delivered story can cover up for glaring, huge flaws. It took me 21 miserable hours to complete, and my overall enjoyment of Witcher 2 is 40 out of 100.
Damn monsters.
Really? Again? What about his fucking shield? What the fuck is this? What the fuck was that?